Alright, hi guys. We're getting started on a new one of a creepy, small, tiny, teeny little creature with creepy tendencies. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing for this one. I've got basically a small pocket watch here as one of my reference pictures, along with a bunch of other references of hands, monkeys, little creepy things I found online, teeth and stuff like that. Basically wanting a creepy, half creepy monkey. I'm basically wanting a half monkey, half hand, half gremlin, half pixie, half spider-esque creature, and 250% creepy. So yeah, that's what I'm going for here. And basically I'm going to try and draw him on a pocket watch so I can have him hanging off it. And you just saw my references there. So first off, we're going to try and get like a basic image of what we want for the character here. So I'm going to have a very large head. It's probably too small, but I'll come back to it in a minute. And he's probably going to have a very protruding mouth. I want it to have like a curled body, so the spine is never really straight. Going to have a little tummy there and little pectorals, and the spine's going to be very overemphasized. Yeah, I think I'm going to enlarge his head in a minute, but just get a rough idea where I want the mouth and the eyes. It's not too bad for a shape. I'll come back to the head in a minute actually, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out where I want the limbs and whatnot. So yeah, basically I'm wanting to have kind of a hand structure here. So I'll have like 5 limbs, and they're all going to be like weird hairy fingers. So that's where the spider idea comes in, because it's going to have these just long protruding fingers instead of any like actual arms with hands. But I'm going to have them like come off like a hand. So there's going to be 5 limbs, with the 3 on that side and the 2 on the other side, one being kind of thumb-esque, but I'm not going to really have unique fingers. They're all going to be kind of similar looking, and I don't want it directly to be just a hand, so I'm going to move about the limbs a little bit. So coming out, having the joints here, so they're kind of crocking in, so it's almost like all they could do is grasp for something. But imagine if you had like your hand on a table and had it crawling up the side kind of thing. That's the image I want to invoke for this character. Yeah, make sure that tummy's out. I'm probably going to have the tummy be a central part, so it's going to be the bottom weight for this character is the stomach, and then the head's going to be the center of mass on this character. Well, I suppose the stomach's kind of the center of mass, but because the head is so large, it's going to have that kind of emphasis, which he's going to be leaning it against things. It's going to always be the first thing that moves. Get this limb out a little bit more. I don't really care for how big that is. I don't want because this would probably be the thumb on a normal hand, but I don't really want it to be a thumb. I want it to be just another finger that would curl around and grasp onto an object. Probably overemphasize the spine a little bit more. Let's get in. So yeah, I'm probably going to use like this kind of finger idea where he's got these like monkey hands, overemphasize the knuckles and the joints in here, and really kind of get some of those grooves in for like the fleshy grooves. I suppose if the other ones were kind of looking at muscle and fat, I suppose this one's kind of just flesh on bone to a degree, but there is going to be like a little bit of fat and muscle going on in this one. Because the actual theme I'm going with is creepy and small, and this thing's going to be very tiny. It's going to, like I say, it's going to be grabbing onto a pocket watch, and the pocket watch is probably going to be larger than the creature for the most part. We have a sense that, yeah, I'll probably make this stomach a little bit bigger, but I'm also going to have this second, like in the muscle video, I'm going to have a bit of an anatomically correct in this one, where I've got the pectoral there, and emphasizing for this 5th limb, so it's going to have kind of a secondary pec. Probably not going to give it a lip or anything like that. Probably just going to have it as a bit of muscle underneath the right hand pec of this character. I want it to have a pot belly, so very like goblin, gremlin-esque thing going on here. Make sure this comes out and curls around. So these are all going to be like fingers, so they're all going to have the 3 joints that fingers have plus the knuckle, but knuckle's going to be kind of the shoulder or hip connection in each of these. So really I'm keeping knowledge of having those 3 joints that a finger would normally have, like as if you're like pulling a trigger. Again, like I say, if you have that imagined kind of idea, if you've ever done that thing where you put your hand on a table and you've imagined your hand like a spider, or you've had it crawl up on somebody or something like that, that's the kind of feeling I want to invoke with this caricature. Yeah, get some hair on the knuckles there as well. Yeah, so when I come in here, I'm going to have a very large mouth. Probably having numbing on something when it comes to it. And I want to have these kind of like creepy spike teeth all the way around, which aren't kind of unique teeth sets. I'm probably going to have them all identical teeth, because there's something creepy about having just the same tooth repeated over and over again instead of having like molars and fangs and things like that. I don't know, I'm really into that look. And I know it's kind of used quite a few times in other character designs, but I don't know, I like it. Just drawing in the tongue here, I'm just so I've got kind of a reference to what I wanted the tongue to look like, but most likely you're not even going to see the tongue on this character. And I've overemphasized the jaw a little bit because I'm probably going to have it like a slightly protruding jaw to give it a kind of a malformed skull idea. And do I want 3 eyes? I'm not too sure. Might make it like a Cyclops creature. I don't know, it's a bit overplayed having that kind of going on. I've seen that a few times. Could have the eyes separated apart like that. I think I'll go with the same theme as I've gone for the limbs, where there's an odd number of eyes. Yeah, I quite like that. I'm probably going to make them a bit larger when I do it, because I want to have that kind of spider monkey-esque huge eyed look. Yeah, and I'm going to have like a monkey-esque nose, I think, as well, because that's very goblin-y, isn't it? And then have these large rounded eyes to the side with a little bit of fleshy folds around them as well, just to give them almost like a baby look. And then the third one as well, just a little bit more here. And the third one, just can't really have it like the other 2 eyes. When you have like a third eye or a central eye, like a Cyclops or something, you have to kind of mirror both sides. You got to pick one or the other, really, for what you want it to look like. On which side you're going to take influence from for the eye. And there's a lot of really cool character design things for Cyclopses and Triclopses out there, but yeah, you've got to kind of do something a bit different with the middle eye. And then ears, I don't know, I might just have big ears. Yeah, I kind of like that. Maybe I'll do something weird with it a bit later. No, yeah, kind of slightly large. And then the idea of a skull here, they're probably going to have a little nip for the hair. That's just for reference for the hair a bit later. Yeah, quite happy with that. Yeah, it's not too bad. I might just go in a little bit more extra details that I might need when going into the actual picture. So like I said, this is a reference image I'm making now, so I know what I kind of want this creature to look like, and then I'm going to draw it in an actual image. Kind of like the last goo and tentacle image I did, but it's not going to be nearly as detailed because it's not going to have a background. It's just going to have the object it's clinging to. So yeah, I'm probably going to have it like this monkey, like say object it's clinging to. In my case it's a pocket watch, but I want that kind of look, like a child attaching itself to something. I suppose the idea of this creature, probably going to have him be almost like a pocket gremlin, if you can imagine that idea, where he attach himself to an object and then that would be like their home, kind of that snail mentality. Just make his head a bit larger here to really emphasize the tininess factor. Yeah, large heads and large eyes really overemphasize the innocence and tiny factor. It's going to be creepy, but I want also that kind of like, oh, it's kind of creepy, cute look. That's why I said it was like half creep, half cute. Yeah, like a pocket gremlin, maybe, or pocket pixie, where he's like attached himself to a small object you'd normally keep in your pocket, and like latched onto it, and then that's their home, like very snail mentality, or like a crab, I suppose. In this case, it's a pocket watch, but you could imagine this creature attaching itself to a wallet, or to a purse bag, maybe even a pen. Like I say, it's going to be smaller than the pocket watch in theory. Might make him, his head might be the decider on that, because I might want the head to be a bit larger so you can tell details on it. But yeah, I originally thought I'd have this thing kind of like just holding onto a pocket watch. So like if you held it in your hand, it would be smaller than your hand. Let's move these limbs around a little bit more to something I'm comfortable with. Because I don't want it to have a hand structure. I want it to still have like a unique animal structure. So I'm just moving these apart and shrinking and enlarging these so that they less resemble what a hand would look like. I'm quite happy with that one. Yeah. Oop, didn't mean to do that on that layer. Oops. Yeah, I might just pull this one up a little bit as well. I'll do this top one first. Yeah. Don't be afraid to just cut out and destroy. Like if you're doing like a template picture like this, because this is like my super rough. My first idea for this character. Don't be scared to like just cut up your image and move it about. It's a thing you can do on computer way easier than you can do in like a real life drawing. You just have to start again. So really abuse it. It's always useful to be able to just like say, this limb's not right, I'm just going to cut and move it. And this one, I might just bring this one a little bit higher. I'm quite happy with this one. But I want to make sure they've got this curling around look going on. Yes, yeah, quite like that. Let's get a few extra details in, shall we? Just so I completely understand what I've drawn. Yeah, I want to really emphasize that pot belly. It's probably going to be a central point of the character, the pot belly. And if it was to have an actual kind of anatomy layout, this would be where the rib cage would be coming in, and then the spine would be very curled around the back. Probably give him a little bit of a neck, just to emphasize his head size. And yeah, make sure I've got the curled around look, like I say, with the three parts. Little spine showing off. That slightly under pectoral for that third limb on this side. Yeah, really emphasize those three joints. And probably make the end of the fingers a bit more pudgy, a bit more bloated. This ear structure, not too sure about the ears. And make sure I've got some kind of at least inclination of some subtle some subtle kind of like emphasis on there being a skull. Little nose going in there. Yeah, probably have the little, almost a monkey-shaped light mouth, or chimp, I should say. Yeah. Got these eyes. I kind of see what I'm doing with the eyes. Don't really have to worry about it too much. Let's say my little bloated end of the fingers, like that one reference image I had. But yeah, this will do. Just make sure I got the nails. Yeah, pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to save that, and I'll use that as a reference. Alright, so now that I've got my little reference for my little creepy creature, I'm going to make a start on the actual image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this be the pocket watch. Make sure this is correctly shaped. Give me a moment. There we go. Also, I'm probably going to have this be the main focus of the image, and it's going to probably take up the bulk of it, and probably have it slightly off center so I can show a little bit more of the character on the right hand side of this, and come in, get a little bit of details here. Because it's quite small and quite enlarged, probably going to have like some wear and tear on it as I make it. Don't have to worry about this too much, just getting the overall shape of this object. That's the little handle clicky part of the top of the pocket watch. And then just add the little bit beginning parts of the chain. It's going to be very large because this creature is very small. Yeah, that will do. And yeah. And I'll probably have some flourish at the middle here, maybe showing the inner workings of the pocket watch. I don't know, I'll think about that a bit later. It's not an important detail, I just need the main shape of it. That's good. Now go on to the actual creature. So I want his head, and I'm not worried about him being completely visible. because I've done one image with the muscle and scale where it was like a character design and we had all the information we needed completely visible. On this one, it's not really going to be a scene either. It's just going to be almost like a concept art piece. So I don't mind if his like head slightly obscured by the little clicker bit at the back there, like having peeking out. It's kind of innocent, and his pot belly over down here, like squashed against the actual object. Actually, not quite happy with that head. I want it a bit over a bit more. Maybe a bit larger. Probably should have worked on the body first. And yeah, so I don't mind it being behind this thing here and having his eyes just peeking through the little negative spaces on the pocket watch. So yeah, have it down here. Have the eye down over here. One mid-ground and one probably beady a little bit. That one to the top slightly closed like that. And then have that and very enlarged over here. Oh yeah, that's a thing for me. I hate it when you have a design on a character and the eyes are just like a flat plane on top of the head and there's no kind of like depth to it. I think it's a little bit, it shows your novelness when you have eyes that are just like look like they're stuck onto a skull. You always want a little bit of depth in the eyes because they're curved into your head, so you always want one to be a slightly different shape in some ways. I mean, you can have straight ons, but like it's somewhat unnatural. Yeah, sorry, it's just a pet peeve of mine when I see like these like almost anime-esque images and you just have the eyes pasted on top of the skull like a mask. Anyway, yeah, probably gonna do something with the ear. I don't know, I was just like playing around. Maybe give it 2 points. And then for the mouth, I've got that little protrusion for the coming out. Alright, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that's coming around. So I'm going to have the 5 limbs coming out around here. So I've got to have the top one just peeking over like that. And then we've got one peeking over like this. Then the bottom one, I'm going to have probably a little bit more the bottom one back there. And then this one is going to be corking around from the bottom. Nah, I immediately started thinking second of that when I was doing it. I'm going to have that come up because I want to see some of the tail, and I'll probably have a little bit of the bum popping out here. So yeah, having that come up and down and twisting around. Yeah, treat the end half of the finger-esque limb like a thigh. Yeah, have those 3 parts. That middle bit's probably a bit big. So just eat into it a little bit. Have them semi-touching. Yeah, it's not too bad. I like that. I like the fact that it's got this kind of like hand feel when it's like that. Yeah, I'm kind of fluctuating between wanting to look like a hand and at the same time not. I think just having a couple of the fingers not going in the correct direction for a hand will make that come across the way I want it. Now let's go in and make a few of the finer details before I get started on the actual speed drawing and I start speeding up the footage. Thanks again and enjoy!